Nothing bonds a marriage like a day of overpriced beer and body odor. At least, that's what I told myself as I watched my girlfriend Tara flirt with every guy who looked her way at the Rock Creek Music Festival. My name's Eric Gannon, Rick to my friends, and I'm a 38-year-old IT network engineer who should have known better than to bring his girlfriend to see her ex-boyfriend's band perform. "Rick, lighten up!" Tara shouted over the screaming guitars, her blonde hair whipping around as she danced. "It's just music." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Just music, right? And Dave Keller was just her ex-boyfriend, not the 6'2" gym owner who kept flexing his biceps every time he caught her looking, which was often. Tara's friends, Lacey and Molly, had been pushing this reunion all week. "You have to see Dave's new band," Lacey had gushed, her fake nails clicking against her phone as she showed us videos. "He's gotten so hot since the breakup." Molly had nodded enthusiastically. "Plus, you know what they say about old flames and new sparks." I should have stayed home. Should have claimed a work emergency or sudden food poisoning. Instead, here I was, watching my girlfriend of 2 years act like a teenager at her first concert. The crowd pressed closer to the stage as Dave's band launched into their final song. I found myself pushed backward while Tara somehow managed to work her way forward, dragging Lacey and Molly with her. They formed a tight little group right in front, screaming and waving their arms. "She's really getting into it," said Pete, my only real friend in this mess. He'd driven up from the city to join us, probably sensing I'd need moral support. Pete worked construction and had the kind of straightforward personality that cut through bullshit like a chainsaw through balsa wood. "Yeah, she's getting into something," I muttered, watching Tara catch Dave's eye during his guitar solo. He winked at her. Actually winked, like we were in some cheesy romance movie. The song ended, and the crowd cheered. Dave grabbed the microphone, sweat glistening on his chest. "Thanks, Rock Creek. You've been amazing." More cheers. I started to relax, thinking maybe we could finally leave. That's when it happened. "Before we go," Dave continued, his eyes finding Tara in the crowd, "I want to bring someone special up here." My stomach dropped. Surely he wouldn't. "Tara Mason, get up here!" The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Tara squealed with delight, her cheeks flushed from alcohol and excitement. Lacey and Molly pushed her toward the stage, giggling like schoolgirls. "I can't climb up there in this dress," Tara protested, but she was already moving forward. Dave jumped down from the stage with athletic grace. "No problem," he said, loud enough for the front rows to hear. "Hop on." He turned around and crouched down. Without hesitation, Tara hiked up her sundress and climbed onto his shoulders. Dave stood up slowly, his hands gripping her thighs to steady her. The crowd cheered as he spun around, showing her off like a trophy. That's when she said it. "You're so much taller and better than my husband," Tara shouted, her voice carrying over the crowd noise. The audience erupted in laughter. Dave's bandmates on stage cracked up. Even the sound guy was grinning. And there I was, standing 20 feet away, watching my girlfriend publicly humiliate me in front of 500 strangers. "Did she just—" Pete started. "Yeah," I said quietly. "She did." Dave spun Tara around again, both of them laughing. She threw her arms up in the air, completely carefree, completely oblivious to what she'd just done to me. Or maybe not oblivious. Maybe she knew exactly what she was doing. The lead singer grabbed his mic. "Looks like someone's got relationship problems," he announced, pointing at me. "Don't worry, buddy, there's plenty of fish in the sea." More laughter, more pointing. I felt every eye in the crowd turn toward me. The short, boring husband who couldn't satisfy his woman. The guy who got publicly roasted by his own girlfriend at a rock concert. Lacey was filming everything with her phone, probably already planning how to make it go viral. Molly was doubled over with laughter, slapping her knee like she'd just heard the funniest joke in the world. I looked at Pete. He was staring at Tara with disgust. "Rick, man, I'm sorry. This is fucked up." "Yeah," I said again. My voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from someone else. "It really is." I turned and walked away. Not dramatically, not storming off in a huff, just quietly, calmly walking through the crowd toward the parking lot. People moved aside for me, some still chuckling, others looking embarrassed on my behalf. Behind me, I could hear Dave starting up another song, an impromptu encore. Tara was probably still on his shoulders, still laughing, still having the time of her life. If I'd had a mic, I would have dropped it. Instead, I dropped my pride. Same sound. I made it to my car, a practical Honda Civic that suddenly felt like a clown car compared to Dave's lifted truck, and sat in the driver's seat for a long moment. My phone buzzed. A text from Tara. It was a selfie of her and Dave, arms wrapped around each other, both grinning like idiots. The caption read, "Best night ever." I stared at the photo for 30 seconds, then deleted her number from my phone. The internet, as it turns out, is forever. Especially when you're going viral for being a cuckold. I woke up Monday morning to 17 missed calls, 43 text messages, and a Facebook notification that made my blood run cold. "You've been tagged in 12 photos and 3 videos." Lacey had done exactly what I'd expected. The entire festival humiliation was now online, complete with slow-motion replays and commentary from strangers who found my public emasculation hilarious. "OMG, this is so awkward," read one comment under the video of Tara on Dave's shoulders. "Poor guy just got destroyed by his own wife." "She's not wrong, though. Look at the difference." I scrolled through the comments until my coffee got cold, each one a fresh knife twist. Pete had texted me around midnight. "Saw the videos. You okay, man? This is seriously messed up." At least someone was on my side. My phone rang. Tara. I let it go to voicemail, then immediately played the message. "Rick, baby, where did you go last night? I looked everywhere for you. Listen, about what I said on stage. I was drunk, okay? It was just a joke. Everyone was laughing. It was fun. Don't be such a drama queen about it. Call me back." Drama queen. Right. Because being publicly humiliated by your girlfriend was just me being sensitive. She called 6 more times before noon. I ignored them all. At lunch, I drove to Murphy's Tavern, the dive bar where Pete and I usually met for drinks. He was already there, nursing a beer and scrolling through his phone with a disgusted expression. "This is everywhere," he said without looking up. "Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. Someone even made it into a meme." He showed me his screen. It was a screenshot of Tara on Dave's shoulders with the caption, "When you upgrade from economy to first class." Below that, a picture of me looking stunned with the text, "When you realize you've been downgraded." "Jesus," I muttered, sliding into the booth across from him. "It gets worse," Pete said. "Check out Lacey's Instagram story." He handed me his phone. Lacey had posted a series of videos from the night, including footage I hadn't seen before. There was Tara and Dave dancing together after I left, his hands on her waist, her head thrown back in laughter. Then a shot of them walking toward the parking lot together, Dave's arm around her shoulders. The final video was time-stamped 2:47 a.m. It showed Dave's truck parked outside what looked like Tara's apartment building. "She took him home," I said. "Looks like it," Pete confirmed. "And that's not even the worst part." "What do you mean?" Pete pulled out his own phone and showed me a group text thread. It was Tara's friend group, Lacey, Molly, and 3 other women I recognized from various parties and dinners. Lacey: "OMG, last night was insane." Molly: "I know, right? Tara was literally glowing." Sarah: "About time she got some real action." Lacey: "Dave is so much hotter than Rick, like not even close." Molly: "Right? Poor Rick looked like a kicked puppy." Sarah: "She's been settling for way too long. Dave's always been the one that got away." Lacey: "Well, he didn't get away last night. How did you get access to this? I asked. Pete looked uncomfortable. My cousin Jenny is friends with Sarah. She screenshot it and sent it to me this morning. Thought you should know what they're really saying. I read through the messages again, each one hitting like a physical blow. These weren't strangers on the internet making jokes. These were people I'd had dinner with, people I'd considered friends. And they were celebrating my humiliation like it was entertainment. There's more, Pete said reluctantly. More what? Your car. Dave borrowed it this morning. I stared at him. What? Jenny saw him driving your Honda around town. Apparently Tara gave him the keys because his truck wouldn't start. The room started to spin. Not only had my girlfriend cheated on me and humiliated me publicly, but now her ex was driving around in my car like he owned it. My phone buzzed. Another text from Tara. Rick, you're being ridiculous. Nothing happened with Dave. We just talked about old times. And yes, I let him borrow your car because his broke down. It's called being a good person. Stop being so paranoid and call me back. I showed the text to Pete. He read it and shook his head. She's gaslighting you, man. Making you think you're crazy for being upset about this. I know, I said. But knowing and feeling were two different things. Part of me wanted to believe her, wanted to pretend that the videos and photos and group texts were all some big misunderstanding. Then my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a Facebook notification. Someone had tagged me in a new photo. It was Dave, behind the wheel of my car, giving a thumbs up to the camera. The caption read, "Thanks for the loaner, Rick. Your girl's got great taste in men and cars." That's when something inside me snapped. I looked at Pete, who was watching me with concern. "You know what?" I said, my voice eerily calm. "If she wants to play games, let's play games." "Rick, what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking," I said, pulling out my laptop, "that if revenge is a dish best served cold, I'm about to open an ice cream parlor." My apartment transformed into a war room over the next 3 days. I'd taken sick leave from work, claiming food poisoning, and dedicated myself to what I now thought of as Operation Payback. My dining table was covered with printouts, screenshots, and a detailed timeline of Dave and Tara's activities. Pete stopped by Wednesday evening with Chinese takeout and found me surrounded by evidence like a conspiracy theorist. "Dude, this is getting a little intense," he said, stepping carefully around the papers I'd spread across the floor. "Intense gets results," I replied, not looking up from my laptop. "Did you know Dave's gym has a Bluetooth sound system that's completely unsecured? Anyone within 50 feet can connect to it. Rick, and Tara's company is hosting their annual charity gala this Friday. Big client event, very prestigious. Her boss will be there, along with about 200 potential customers." Pete set down the food and sat across from me. "What exactly are you planning?" I finally looked up, and I could see him flinch at whatever expression was on my face. "I'm planning to give them exactly what they gave me. Public humiliation." "And how are you going to do that?" I turned my laptop around to show him the audio file I'd been editing. Remember how Tara used to leave me drunk voicemails when we first started dating? Really explicit ones. Pete's eyes widened. "You still have those?" "I keep everything," I said, "including the ones she left me Sunday night after she got home from Dave's place. Want to hear what she said about his performance?" "Jesus, Rick." "She was very detailed, very graphic, and very loud." I clicked play on a short clip. Tara's slurred voice filled the room, describing exactly what Dave had done to her and how it compared to me. It was crude, mean, and absolutely devastating. Pete winced. "You can't play that in public, man. That's..." "Revenge," I finished. "And it's perfectly legal. She left me these messages. They're mine to do with as I please." Over the next 2 days, I put my plan into motion. Phase 1 targeted Dave's gym, Gold's Paradise, during their busiest hours. I'd scouted the place earlier in the week, noting their schedule and security measures. Thursday at 6 p.m., right when all the after-work warriors were pumping iron, I executed my first strike. I parked across the street and connected my phone to their sound system. The gym was packed with about 30 people, including several women Dave had been trying to impress. He was in the middle of spotting some college kid on the bench press when my audio started playing. Tara's voice, drunk and unfiltered, echoed through the gym. "Oh my God, Rick, you should have seen Dave tonight. He was so pathetic. Like, he thinks he's this big stud, but he lasted maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And his thing is so small I could barely feel it. I was faking it the whole time just to make him feel better." The gym went dead silent. Every head turned toward the speakers, then toward Dave, who had gone white as a ghost. The college kid was still holding the barbell, staring at Dave with his mouth open. The recording continued. "And he kept asking if he was better than you, and I was like, 'Sure, honey. Whatever helps you sleep at night.' God, men are so insecure. At least you know what you're doing in bed, Rick." Dave was like a teenager who learned everything from porn. Someone started laughing. Then someone else. Within seconds, the entire gym was in hysterics. Dave frantically ran toward the sound system, trying to shut it off, but I'd locked the connection with a password. "I can't believe I wasted a whole night on that disappointment. I'm coming home to you, baby. Show me what a real man feels like." By the time Dave managed to unplug the entire sound system, the damage was done. Half the gym was recording with their phones, and the other half was openly mocking him. I could see him through the window, red-faced and shouting at his staff, probably trying to figure out who was responsible. I drove away with a smile on my face. Phase 1. Complete. Phase 2 required more preparation. Tara's company, Pinnacle Marketing, was hosting their charity gala at the Riverside Hotel downtown. It was a big deal. Their biggest clients would be there, along with potential new accounts worth millions of dollars. Tara had been planning it for months, and her promotion to senior partner depended on its success. I spent Friday afternoons setting up my equipment. The hotel had a perfect setup for my purposes. A large blank wall facing the main ballroom, visible from the street through floor-to-ceiling windows. All I needed was a high-powered projector and a good position across the street. The gala started at 7. I waited until 8:30, when everyone would be seated for dinner and the speeches would begin. Then I fired up my projector and began the slideshow. The first image appeared on the hotel wall, 20 feet tall and impossible to miss. Tara climbing onto Dave's shoulders at the festival, with the caption, "Employee of the Month, Tara Mason." Inside the ballroom, I could see people starting to notice. Heads turned toward the windows, fingers pointed, conversations stopped mid-sentence. The second slide was the group text thread, enlarged so every cruel comment was clearly readable. What Pinnacle Marketing employees really think about their clients. The third slide was a photo of Dave driving my car, with Tara's text messages about letting him borrow it without asking me. Pinnacle Marketing, where trust matters. By the fourth slide, a screenshot of Tara's social media posts about her amazing night with Dave. The entire gala had ground to a halt. People were standing at the windows, taking pictures of my projection with their phones. I could see Tara's boss, Mr. Henderson, frantically talking into his cell phone. The final slide was simple text on a black background. Ask Tara Mason about her customer service philosophy. I packed up my equipment and drove home, checking social media as I went. The photos were already spreading. Pinnacle Gate was trending locally within an hour. Saturday morning brought the consequences. Tara called me 17 times before I finally answered. "You psychotic bastard!" she screamed into the phone. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I gave you the same courtesy you gave me," I said calmly. "How does it feel to be publicly humiliated?" "I've been suspended. They're talking about firing me. My career is ruined." "Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to make me a laughingstock." "It was a joke. One stupid joke." "No," I said. "One stupid joke was just the beginning. Sleeping with Dave was a choice. Taking him home was a choice. Letting him drive my car was a choice. Making me look like a fool in front of everyone we know was a choice. Now you get to live with the consequences." She was crying now, her voice breaking. "Rick, please. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Can't we work this out?" "We could have," I said, "before you chose him over me, before you let your friends mock me, before you made me feel like I was nothing." "I never meant—" "Yes, you did," I interrupted. "You meant every word. You just didn't expect me to fight back." I hung up and immediately got a text from Pete. "Saw the news. Dave's gym is closed today. Sign on the door says temporary maintenance. Word is half his members canceled their memberships." I smiled and started planning phase 3. Because if they thought this was over, they were about to learn just how wrong they could be. The war went nuclear on Sunday morning. I woke up to find that my revenge had gone viral. Not just locally, but nationally. Someone had compiled all the videos, photos, and screenshots into a single post titled, "The Most Epic Revenge Story Ever," and it was spreading across every social media platform like wildfire. My phone was buzzing constantly with friend requests, interview requests, and messages from strangers either congratulating me or calling me a monster. The local news had picked up the story, framing it as social media revenge gone too far. But the real surprise came when I checked Dave's gym's Facebook page. It had been flooded with 1-star reviews, all referencing the audio incident. More importantly, someone else had joined the conversation. Dave's wife. I'd had no idea he was married. Lisa Keller had posted a long, detailed comment on the gym's page. "To everyone asking about the audio recording, yes, that was my husband Dave cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend. Yes, I've been married to him for 3 years. And yes, I'm filing for divorce on Monday. Thank you to whoever exposed his lies. I've been living with his gaslighting and manipulation for too long." She'd included screenshots of text messages between her and Dave, where he'd claimed to be working late or visiting his sick mother on the nights he was actually with Tara. The timestamps matched perfectly with Lacey's Instagram posts. This changed everything. Dave wasn't just a cheating ex-boyfriend. He was a cheating husband. And his wife was pissed. I sent Lisa a private message. "I'm Rick, Tara's boyfriend. I had no idea Dave was married. I'm sorry you got caught up in this mess." She responded within minutes. "Don't apologize. You did me a favor. I've suspected he was cheating for months, but I could never prove it. Your revenge just gave me everything I need for the divorce." We agreed to meet for coffee that afternoon. Lisa turned out to be a petite brunette with tired eyes and a backbone of steel. She brought a folder full of evidence she'd been collecting about Dave's affairs, not just with Tara, but with at least 3 other women over the past year. "He's a serial cheater," she explained, spreading photos and bank statements across the coffee shop table. "Always has been. I was just too stupid to leave." "Why didn't you confront him before?" Lisa laughed bitterly. "You don't know Dave. He's a master manipulator. Every time I questioned him, he'd turn it around on me, make me feel crazy for being suspicious, tell me I was insecure and paranoid." She paused. "Sound familiar?" It did. Tara had used the same tactics, making me feel like I was overreacting to obvious red flags. "I want to help you destroy them," Lisa said suddenly. "What?" "Dave and Tara. They ruined both our lives. They deserve everything they're getting and more." She leaned forward, her eyes intense. "I know things about Dave that would end him completely. Financial stuff. Illegal stuff." "Like what?" "He's been skimming money from the gym's accounts, fake vendors, inflated expenses, cash payments that never happened. I helped him with the books before I realized what he was doing." She pulled out a flash drive. "It's all here. Bank records, fake invoices, everything." I stared at the drive. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because you're the only person who hates them as much as I do right now, and because I can't use it in the divorce without incriminating myself for helping him initially." She slid the drive across the table. "But you could send it to the IRS, anonymously." That night, I called Pete to update him on the Lisa situation. He was skeptical. This is getting way too complicated, Rick. Financial fraud, the IRS, you're talking about serious federal crimes here. Dave committed serious crimes, I pointed out. I'm just making sure he faces consequences. And what about Tara? She's already been suspended from work. Her reputation is destroyed. Isn't that enough? I thought about the group text messages, the public humiliation, the way she'd gaslit me into thinking I was overreacting. No, I said. It's not enough. Monday brought new developments. Tara showed up at my apartment at 6 a.m., looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her usually perfect hair was unwashed, her makeup smeared, her clothes wrinkled. "Rick, please," she said when I opened the door. "We need to talk." "I don't think we do." "I lost my job," she said, starting to cry. "Henderson fired me this morning, said I was a liability to the company's reputation." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, though I wasn't. "No, you're not. You're happy about it." She wiped her nose with her sleeve. "You've destroyed my entire life over one stupid comment." "One comment, one night with Dave, and 2 years of taking me for granted," I corrected. "This isn't about the festival, Tara. This is about you showing me exactly what you think of me." She tried a different approach, stepping closer and putting her hand on my chest. "Baby, I know I screwed up, but we can fix this. We love each other, right? We can work through anything." I looked down at her hand, then back at her face. "Do you love me, Tara?" "Of course I do." "Then why did you sleep with Dave?" Her face crumpled. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything." "That's not what you said in your voicemail." "I was lying. I was trying to make you jealous. By telling me how small his dick was and how bad he was in bed?" She blinked, realizing she'd been caught in another lie. I was confused. I didn't know what I was saying." I gently removed her hand from my chest. "Here's what I think happened. I think you've been bored with me for months. I think you saw Dave at the festival and remembered why you dated him. I think you decided to see if the grass was greener, and when it wasn't, you tried to come back to me like nothing happened. That's not. I think you never respected me," I continued. "I think you saw me as safe, boring, reliable Rick, who would always be there no matter how badly you treated him. I think you took me for granted, and now you're shocked that I actually have a spine." Tears were streaming down her face now. "Please, Rick, I'll do anything. I'll go to counseling. I'll make it up to you. Just please stop this war." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered the laughter at the festival, the group texts, the way she'd let Dave drive my car like it was his. "I can't stop it, Tara. It's already in motion." "What do you mean?" I didn't answer. Instead, I closed the door and went back to my computer, where I was putting the finishing touches on Phase 4 of my plan. Because Lisa was right about one thing. They deserved everything they were getting and more. By Wednesday, Dave's gym was officially closed. Not for maintenance, permanently. The IRS had seized his assets pending an investigation into tax fraud, and his landlord had evicted him for non-payment of rent. The anonymous tip I'd sent them, along with Lisa's financial evidence, had triggered a full audit. But that wasn't enough. I wanted one final public confrontation, something that would end this war definitively and leave no doubt about who had won. I spent the week planning what I called the Charity Brawl, a public event that would bring together everyone who had been affected by Dave and Tara's betrayal. I sent anonymous invitations to Lisa, to the gym members who'd lost their membership fees, to Tara's former co-workers, and to everyone who'd been following the story online. The location was perfect. Riverside Park's outdoor amphitheater, where the city held summer concerts. It was public property, completely legal to use, and had excellent acoustics for what I had planned. The invitation was simple. Final confrontation between Dave Keller and Rick Gannon. Friday, 7 p.m. Bring popcorn. I also sent a special invitation to Dave and Tara. Time to finish what you started at the festival. Come alone or don't come at all. Pete tried one last time to talk me out of it. This is insane, Rick. What if Dave brings friends? What if someone gets hurt? Dave doesn't have friends anymore, I said. And no one's going to get hurt. This is about humiliation, not violence. What exactly are you planning to do? I showed him the equipment I'd rented. A professional sound system, wireless microphones, and a large projection screen. I'm going to give them the same platform they gave themselves at the festival. A stage, an audience, and a chance to explain their actions to everyone they've hurt. Friday evening arrived with perfect weather, clear skies, mild temperature, light breeze. I arrived at the amphitheater at 6 p.m. to set up my equipment. By 6:30, people were starting to gather. By 6:45, there were over 100 spectators, including several local news crews who'd gotten wind of the event. Lisa arrived at 6:50, carrying a folder of documents and wearing a grim smile. "You ready for this?" she asked. "I've been ready for 2 weeks," I replied. At exactly 7 p.m., Dave and Tara appeared at the top of the amphitheater steps. They looked terrible. Dave had lost weight and grown a scraggly beard, while Tara was wearing sunglasses to hide what looked like permanent dark circles under her eyes. The crowd went silent as they walked down the steps. Someone started recording with their phone. Then someone else. Within seconds, dozens of cameras were pointed at them. I stepped up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to tonight's event. 2 weeks ago, these two people publicly humiliated me at a music festival. Tonight, I'm giving them a chance to explain their actions to everyone they've hurt in the process." Dave reached the bottom of the steps and tried to grab the microphone from me. "This is bullshit, Rick. You've already ruined our lives." I stepped back, keeping the mic out of his reach. "Have I? Let's review what actually happened, shall we?" I clicked a remote, and the projection screen lit up with a timeline of events. The festival humiliation, the night at Tara's apartment, the car borrowing, the group text messages mocking me. "This is what they did to me," I announced to the crowd. "Now let's see what they did to others." The next slide showed Lisa's evidence about Dave's affairs. The crowd murmured as they read the details of his cheating, his lies, his manipulation. "Dave Keller has been married for 3 years, I continued. His wife had no idea he was cheating until she saw the videos of him with Tara. Lisa stepped forward and took a second microphone. "I'm Lisa Keller, Dave's wife, or rather, his soon-to-be ex-wife. I want everyone to know that Dave is a serial cheater and a financial criminal. He's stolen money from his gym members, cheated on his taxes, and lied to everyone who trusted him." The crowd was getting restless. Someone shouted, "What do you have to say for yourself, Dave?" Dave looked around desperately, realizing he was surrounded by people who had every reason to hate him. This is harassment. You can't do this to us." "Can't do what?" I asked. "Give you a public platform to defend yourselves? Isn't that exactly what you did to me at the festival?" Tara finally spoke up, her voice shaking. "Rick, please. Haven't we suffered enough?" I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since this all started. She looked broken, defeated, nothing like the confident woman who'd climbed onto Dave's shoulders 2 weeks ago. "You want to know if you've suffered enough?" I said into the microphone. "Let's ask the people you've hurt." I gestured to the crowd. "Anyone who lost money when Dave's gym closed, raise your hand." About 30 hands went up. "Anyone who trusted Tara professionally and felt betrayed by her behavior, raise your hand." More hands. "Anyone who thinks these two people got exactly what they deserved, raise your hand." Nearly every hand in the amphitheater shot up. Dave snapped. "Fuck all of you!" he screamed, lunging toward me. "This is my life! You don't get to judge me!" But I was ready for him. As he charged forward, I stepped aside and triggered the final part of my plan. The sprinkler system I'd hacked into earlier that day activated, soaking Dave with ice-cold water as he slipped and fell face first into the mud in front of the stage. The crowd erupted in cheers and laughter. Dave struggled to his feet, covered in mud and grass stains, looking like the pathetic bully he'd always been. "How's it feel to look up from rock bottom, Dave?" I asked, into the microphone. He tried to charge me again, but Pete and two other guys from the crowd held him back. "Let me go. I'll kill him." "No," I said calmly. "You won't. Because you're not a tough guy, Dave. You're just a sad, insecure man who cheats on his wife and steals from his customers. And now everyone knows it." I turned to Tara, who was standing frozen in shock. "And you, Tara. You said you wanted someone taller and better than your husband. How's that working out for you?" She started crying again, but this time there was no sympathy from the crowd. Someone shouted, "You made your bed, now lie in it!" Police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called the cops about the disturbance, which was perfect timing for my exit. I stepped back up to the microphone for my final statement. "Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's performance. I hope you've learned something valuable. If you're going to climb onto someone's shoulders, make sure they don't drop you when the music stops." The crowd gave me a standing ovation as lightning cracked across the sky and rain began to fall. Dave and Tara stood there soaked, muddy, and completely defeated as police cars arrived and news crews captured every moment. I walked away through the cheering crowd, leaving them both exactly where they belonged, at rock bottom, with nowhere to go but down.